Hi everybody, thank you for joining me again. This is week number 8 of the Shannon's Aylor's She's Crafty mini pad class that she is putting on. In the description box below, I will have the links for all the others who are playing along with the link to the Facebook group that Shannon put together for this class. So this is a sketch for this week. We're going to be doing a lot of bands across. Now this is showing multiple photos in here and then one like stitched element in the center. And I decided I'm just going with one photo. When I went back and I looked at what I had left of my Thanksgiving from 2020, a lot of it was covered with the two layouts that I made. I made a double page and a single page layout. So there's not a whole lot more that I really need to show in my album. So the only thing I had left was pretty much the pie that I cooked. So I was thinking about putting my photo here in the upper corner. And then for this circular element, I thought I would use this doily underneath that will pop off on the green. I grabbed out my the same embellishments that I used the other day for my double page layout. So I have the chipboard. These are from can't remember if these are Echo Park or if they're Simple Stories. Fall is in the air. They're Echo Park. So I have the Echo Park chipboard elements. I have the Cartabella enamel phrases that they're still like pumpkin and happy together, things like that I thought I could use. I grabbed out the Simple Stories phrase stickers that also have some of the like the squares and different embellishments. I have a bunch of creative memory things that I might be able to sprinkle on. I grabbed these two that are also creative memories. One is grapes. I probably won't use that, but the turkey I have. Freckle Fawn, I have some cork pieces left, and they're all pumpkins, which would go with the pumpkin pie. And what I really want to use is this homemade. And so I figure I can use that for the title and maybe get the word eat in here and then the pie. So that is my embellishments that I'm going to have. And again, I'm sticking with the Auburn Lane that I used last week. So this is what I have left of the paper pad. Not a ton. And then I grabbed this green piece of paper that has all the words to talk about Friendsgiving, I love you, fall times, talks about pumpkins together, count your blessings. So I really thought that would be appropriate for Thanksgiving. And again, I reserve the right to be able to go into my stash and grab anything that I think I need to finish the layout. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward and we'll see where this will take us. Okay, so I go ahead and I cut the branding strip off of what I had picked out as my background paper, and I start laying it out. And what I'm going to soon find out is that the colors that are left in the paper pad really don't match what I have going on. I really wanted to use the frame that was on the Echo Park chipboard because I figured that would take that element that was in the bottom right hand corner of the sketch, and I could use that as my journaling box. And most of what I had left in my paper pad was kind of like rose gold metallic, pink, or black. And so I really struggled with that, so I decided I was going to swap out my background. So I went ahead and found I still had one piece of this wood grain left in my Auburn Lane pad, so I grabbed that, figuring that I could be able to pull in some of the other colors that were in the pad. But again, I'm still struggling with, I have mainly pink and rose gold. Excuse me. So I decided to go with this black floral that I'm going to use for the widest band across it. So I cut them down at 2 inches, and I have 3 of them for the 3 different strip areas on the layout. And again, I go through and I really struggled to find what I was going to use. So I gave myself grace and I went in and I grabbed one of my newer Echo Park paper pads I just got in the warehouse sale, and it's like the farmhouse one, And so I was able to then find in that paper pad the colors that I was looking for. I grabbed this green, and then I grabbed another one that had like that florally red on it, and then on the back side of the green was kind of an orange paper, and I'm going to end up using that as my both sides of it as my third color. And then while I was going through, I did find where it was like one of those board signs, and it had the word gather on it, and I'm going to end up cutting that out as one of my embellishments down the road. So you're going to see me just going through. I'm cutting the orange paper at 1.5, I believe, or it possibly is 1 3/4, and then I'm going to cut the smaller ones at like 1 is 3/4 and 1 is 1 inch, and just kind of staggering the width and where I'm going to actually put them on the layout. And I found with this one, because again, I'm the type that I don't like things shifting around, I actually started with the bottom cluster and then just started building my layout, and it really worked good for being able to build those clusters. Now I did decide to go with this black and rose gold paper from Auburn Lane as my background for my photo as a matte. Because it's a matte, it doesn't have a lot coming out of it, and I will have black elements in there, so the colors did work with where I was going. So here's where I'm just going to start building. I'm going to start with that bottom cluster and fishtailing the smaller pieces and just fitting everything in where they were showing in the sketch. Now while I'm doing this, just make sure that you do go into the description box below and check out everybody else who's playing along with this hop. Again, it's a 10-week, what Shannon called a class. She provides a sketch each week, and we are using a total of 5 paper pads that you can go along. Again, there's no scrapbooking, please. You'll see that I have switched it up. I'm just grabbing every week what pictures I want and just making sure I only use one 12 by 12 piece of paper, and the rest has been done with mini pads. And then on the Facebook group, everyone's playing along. So hop on over there. If you haven't already joined, join that Facebook group. Tons and tons and tons of inspiration that people are posting and following along with the sketch. And it's been a lot of fun to see everyone's take on what's been put out there and seeing everything that's being made with the 6x6 paper pads. So as you can see, I went ahead and I've got that bottom cluster made. I did use a piece of paper that was in my stash in the 6x6 paper pad. I just used the back side of it to use for my journaling. I glued down the doily where I felt like it was going to be where the stitched element would have been, and now I'm just building up the left-hand side of the strips. Now I was able to use the parts that I cut off from the bottom as my scraps for that top right hand side, so I was able to save some on my paper. And now I'm just kind of moving things over. I cut this one in half thinking that it wouldn't stretch all the way, but I ended up giving it a bigger gap, so I ended up really not needing to. And I'm just lining them up so they kind of match what's on the right hand side. And again, just continuing to build up, matching it as I go along. Now this one I did have to split in half, but again, it will be covered by the photo, and you won't be able to tell, you know, that these were cut in half, because the photo is going to cover up that space where I made the gap so that they would show across. And here we go. This is the last of that, and then I'm going to get out the embellishments. And glue down the photo, and see, you can't see that I had pieced it together. And that's the wonderful thing about these 6x6 pads. Not only are they like a smaller pattern of the original big ones, but you can stretch them and no one's going to know once you put a piece underneath your paper. So now I'm grabbing this Thanksgiving with the homemade. I'm just taking the middle sections of the letter loops out, and I'm going to end up using everything but the apple that's on this page. I put the pie in the journaling square where I'm going to write about our Thanksgiving. I put the title across, and then I used the spoon and the rolling pin as just decorations, and then I put the word eat up above here. Now what I really liked, again, is that I was able to use the whole thing up. Normally on Thanksgiving, and this is what I journaled about, my husband and I usually bring a spiral ham to each of the Thanksgivings. We have a large family. We all still gather together and we rotate houses. Usually the person who's hosting it will make the turkey, and then we bring the ham because there's so many people coming, and then everyone brings a dish to pass, and so on. Well, because of COVID this year, my sisters ended up just having Thanksgiving with their own families, and my mom and dad stayed home. My husband and I went over to my son and future daughter-in-law's house, and we all met over at there. So we had a smaller gathering than what we would normally have. So instead of bringing the ham this year, I did make the pies. And then, like, my sister is usually the one that brings like the green bean casserole, and I brought that this year. So it was a little switch up. My older sister, she usually is the one that brings all the desserts. So it was just a different Thanksgiving this year. Still a good one. We still Zoomed with everybody and were able to say hi and shared pictures of our Thanksgiving feasts that we all made individually. Hopefully by next fall, we'll be able to gather again as a big group. But it was a nice change to have a smaller gathering and be able to talk and see everybody, and we still try to make it special. So you can see here that I'm just kind of sprinkling a few things around. I ended up taking that word gather from the cut apart and put that down below. And then I have some of the fussy cut Auburn Lane flowers that I used on my layout the other day, and I'm just tucking them in just to kind of bring, when they're in my book, I want them to kind of coincide and know that they all went with the same event. So this is going to tie them all together. Not only the colors of Auburn Lane, but by having this floral element, it will all look as one event, I should say, within my album, and look cohesive. So now I'm just going and journaling about what I just told you about the fact that we didn't bring the ham this year, and that I made pie and brought the green bean casserole. And after I get done doing this, I am going to go and find a few phrase stickers from the Simple Stories. You'll see that I was able to get 3 of the 4 pumpkins I had left of the cork pieces on here. So all I did was cut them away from the packaging, and I'll throw those in my color boxes. I did grab a couple things that said something about gathering and food, or everything pumpkin, and put that down below with the title. And I did move the rolling pin over with the spoon so that I could have room for that floral up above. And the last thing I'm going to do is, I haven't used my Nuvo drops in quite a while, so I did go into my Nuvo drops and I grabbed out my gold, and I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of the gold Nuvo drops around my page just to bring another pop of color, and use another item I have in my stash that I haven't used in a little bit, because I've been concentrating on my enamel dot collection. And that is going to be it for my layout. I want to thank you all for stopping by and checking out my video. Again, make sure you check out everyone else who played along. And here's going to be some close-ups for you. And we will see you again next Sunday for the 9th of the 10 sketches that Shannon's put up on her channel. Have a great day, and we will see you again next weekend. Bye-bye.